What is up, Goth Gamer Nation?
Coven is an upcoming retro first-person horror shooter slasher and witch hysteria was apparently valid simulator developed and published by Grimpressions. Inspired by games like Blood, Hexen, Unreal, and Time Splitters, with a plan to release levels episodically. In this first episode, we play as a young girl that is burned at the stake after being wrongly accused of practicing witchcraft. Maybe she just really liked crystals, or listening to Bjork though. Either way, she's burned up but is resurrected by a mysterious force and goes on a murdering rampage exacting revenge on the people who condemned her. Cards on the table, I did play this demo twice technically, but the first time it did not receive the Realms Deep update. So I went back in to capture a little more footage and realized it was massively different as soon as I killed the first enemy, who did something a lot different than what he did the first time I killed him.
Hold to charge attack. Could I always do this? Oh, fuck!
So yeah, you take out these traitorous villagers with a variety of weapons, mostly conventional, guns and axes. You do also have the ability to heal yourself by consuming the gibs of your fallen enemies. But you know, times are tough, no judgment there. Kinda like I said in the last video, not particularly a boomer shooter fan, but I swear there's a very simple set of things you can do to get me on board. 1. Have a spooky, scary Halloween aesthetic. I'm talking pumpkins, I'm talking witches, I'm talking black cats, and I'm talking castles. And second, just give me some consistent semblance of a plot, particularly if I get to consume that by digging through other people's belongings. I have the attention span of a raccoon. If I see something that ain't mine, I'm like, what's all this then? I don't know why that's what my raccoon sounded like.
Ooh, hello there. Well,
through notes passed between villagers, you learn that the disappearance of several children has been blamed on you, but it's more likely that it was the work of a sadistic priest. His standing in the community just outweighed yours, and nobody believed you. There's a lot of other noteworthy stuff going on, like a plague that has caused so many casualties that they were running out of places to dump bodies. Also, strange statues of old gods are seemingly rising from the ground. It's not a lot, it's just consistent and intriguing enough to propel me forward. I mean, I'll get right to what we're all here for, the super shotgun, and I gotta say, it's pretty good. Watching these farmers smear into pieces across the ground didn't get old for at least the whole 30 minutes I was playing this. Then you can just sweep over the pieces to see if there's anything to munch on, which causes yet more explosions of gore. I swear I'm not usually this much of a gore fiend, but this demo had me feeling like a little ghouly man, a creepy little dude, scrounging around for squishy bits.
oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought that would kill you. Oh, no. Be at peace, my child. Yum, 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 yum.
I think it strikes a good balance of letting you run and gun for a bit, but then having you fall back on melee, which will put you in harm's way more often. Even though you do have a shield, it begins to break the more hits it deflects. So you are encouraged to keep moving and strafing around. You also have a dash that you can use to get across platforms or avoid certain attacks. It may stick to a lot of retro design principles, but there are some anachronistic things that make their way in, like bullet time and little parts where you have to use physics stuff to get past certain obstacles. I mean, not that you couldn't stack some boxes in games from the mid-90s, but it didn't come standard is all I'm saying. You know what I mean. Just fuck you. There's some cool level design stuff happening as well, like a part where you dive into some water and then emerge from it at an impossible angle, such that I was legitimately confused for a moment, thinking it was an error, but it's just the surreal world of the game.
Suddenly, John comes across an image of an upside-down cross.
This is also where you do get some witchy powers, and I can see potential there for a lot of fun stuff, but you don't get to use it too much in the demo. Also love how the ambient music pretty seamlessly transitions into combat music, like they are just layered on top of each other, so it can start up and exit with you barely noticing. There are, like most demos, areas it could improve with enemy variety and weapon balancing. I got a lot of frame rate drops, which I feel like, I mean, no offense, it's a very charming looking game. It's got a great chunky aesthetic, but I'm pretty sure my PC should be able to handle it. If I can play Bugsnax on medium graphics settings, yeah. I think I can handle this. But for the most part, this seems like a very professionally made game, considering it's mostly the work of one person. And browsing through the developers' responses to feedback on Steam, it sounds like they have no shortage of ideas and aspirations for what the finished game will feature, which I imagine is both a blessing and a curse, because it's good to have that creative drive. But I think there is a danger in possibly bloating your project by including every "this would be cool" idea into it. However, they do make mention of a bird companion that could help you solve puzzles, and even if that doesn't wind up in the game, it's that kind of thinking that I appreciate. To have this relentlessly gory and grimdark game about child murder and deadly plagues and think, bird friend.